Any audio now?
Hello. Do we have audio? Are we on?
Yes.
No audio yet.
Yeah, we have. I think it's going. It's flashing.
Oh, we're on.
Great. Happy
Yes,
days.
yes. It's all happening. Thank you, Project 131. Hello, guys. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you, Yuppie. Wow. Hey, guys. Happy Monday. How are we all?
Happy Monday. I'm sorry for bothering you in this way, Daniel.
No, bother away.
I just had to make you less bright. Oh, this is all good. I'm liking this.
Good.
I'm liking this. This is working.
I've just broken a nail.
Oh no.
Ah, it's gone right deep. Oh,
That sucks.
it does.
Nice to see you've changed your T-shirt, Dan.
You like that?
Yeah, I mean it's been like 5 weeks of you wearing that same T-shirt.
Oh, but I love my old. I love the new All You Need Is Fuzz T-shirt.
You must have been getting a bit stinky, I reckon.
I've been, yeah, man. The amount of washing my wife has had to do is alarmingly small.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been walking around in my pants with my slippers on most days, and it's been genuinely alarming. For many reasons.
Welcome to VCQ, people.
Yes, welcome.
Viewers, comments and questions. I just need to see if I can attach myself to some sort of Wi-Fi network. How's everyone been?
How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing great. Much better, actually. Thank you.
Good.
Yes, I had a bit of a rubbish week and much better now. Thank you very much for asking. And
Good,
you?
Good. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. But I don't know. Something happened this morning. We had a really lovely weekend weather-wise. Yesterday was freezing. I took the dog for a walk last night.
Yeah.
And it was Arctic. And I still had my shorts on, same pants, slippers, and walked the dog around. And I came in last night, thought, hang this. And I got up early this morning, did a 20-minute workout and went for a 40-minute brisk walk. Knee's still a bit iffy, but
Right.
went for a brisk walk, and I felt fantastic for the rest of the day.
Doesn't it make a difference?
Oh, it's huge. Absolutely huge.
I'll be joining you in the broken knees group soon. I've started running again, and I've run every other day for 10 days. And it's working.
Good. Good. So is your beard, by the way.
My joints.
As a couple of people have commented on, it is definitely working.
Yeah, don't look up close. But anyway, I'm going with it.
I like it.
Right, so let's say hello to Bob Stone, to Leo Ubios, to Scott H, to Michael Krause, to Edgar Suarez, to Rob Smoking Sauce, to Dan Pachek, to Tony Brooks. Hello, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
I packed something for you today, Tony. To Chris Warburton, to Bent Tom, to Rob Smith, to Derek Webber, to Mark Lavinish, BV Ninja. Thank you very much for moderating today. We've had all sorts of fun trying to turn on the slow mode. YouTube have changed something in the back end again. Taylor D. Hello, Taylor. Michelle Taylor. Sis, how you doing?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jamie Dalziel. Hey, Jamie, how are you? Are you still in the UAE or are you back in Scotland? John Channing. Loads of you. Great to see so many people today.
Definitely.
Zach Gilbert.
And thank you, Zach Gilbert. That's very kind.
For your generosity. That's very kind.
Getting us started. Thank you, buddy.
So today we are ostensibly talking about the video that went out on Friday, which was gloriously presented by Simon.
Yes. Is Simon on?
We should so have got him on. Oh, balls. How do we even do that?
Well, I'm sure he can hear us. Simon, jump on in the comments if you can.
Yeah.
And yeah, that would be great.
Oh, what we should have had is another... why didn't I think about this sooner?
Now, if Simon jumps on in the comments, let's see if that happens.
Yeah, okay. All right.
You can add him.
How?
To the FaceTime call.
How? On here?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, let's see if he jumps onto the comments before we touch technology. In the meanwhile, Jolly Willard, thank you very much, Jolly. He says, tips for switching between humbuckers and G4 noiseless single coils. My 2017 Strat and 1977 Ibanez Artist share the same board. Are you concerned, Jolly, about the difference in level between the guitars?
Oh, no! Just don't put me anywhere near technology. I'm not touching it anymore.
There we go.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's see if he jumps on.
What was the question, Dan? Sorry.
So tips for switching between humbuckers and G4 noiseless single coils. So we did a big question on this a couple of weeks ago, I think, and it's really tricky. If your question is one of a difference in level, then it's a tricky thing to get right, unless you have different, switching preamp and that sort of thing. I have tried to find guitars that match so that I can plug them all into the same board. I hear the character of the guitar, but I don't need to worry too much about the difference in levels.
Yeah.
One of the reasons it took me so long to find a Les Paul that I like. It's not a straightforward thing to do.
No, I guess with us as well, because we live in the vintage inspired guitar world, they're all much of a muchness, aren't they? I mean, my Strat is basically, I wouldn't say it's as loud, but the transients are certainly louder than the 335.
Sure.
Doesn't have as much bass, but they're all within there or about. So if you've got 2 or 3 gain stages on the board, it's just about picking the one that suits that guitar the best. That's how I think about it. So there's gain stages I don't use with the 335 that I do use with the Strat, and vice versa. And that's how I do it. So different pedal choices, but
sure. Question, Jolly, about the artist that you're using, the 1977 artist. I love this. One of probably my favorite Ibanez guitar is the artist. I had one growing up. I had the solid body. And that's the same one that Andy Partridge from XTC used for the longest time. But then there's the hollow-bodied version, which is the John Schofield guitar. I think John Abercrombie used I'm not sure if John Abercrombie used the solid body or the hollow body. But anyway, they are wonderful, wonderful guitars. So I'd be interested to find out if yours is the solid body or the hollow body. Let us know.
Yeah, I think it's probably the solid body.
Right.
They were much more common, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't they have like super distortions in or something crazy?
Oh, I don't know.
Of some fairly high output humbucker anyway.
It was my brother's guitar.
Right.
That I borrowed for a long time. I think by that time he sort of stopped playing and he almost forgot about that guitar. Then one day he asked for it back. But I played that guitar for a couple of years, like from when I was 15, I think. And I used to take that guitar when I was trying out pedals, I'd take that guitar with me to all the music stores. And because it's such a glorious sounding thing.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've even seen one, but
yeah,
they're
great. I think you can pick those up for not crazy money still, and they're really consistently great guitars.
Heavy, as I remember.
Yeah, they were heavy, but the Yamaha SGs were heavy as well, and they sounded fantastic. Yeah, that was my favourite tone ever from come on, what's his name? The guy with all the sustain, South American, played Woodstock.
Oh yeah, Carlos Santana?
Carlos Santana. My favourite tone of his ever was with the Yamaha SG.
Okay, right, moving on. Ian, who was talking to us a little while back about digital overdrive crackle, he's saying it's his Ryra, his Rock Your Repaired amp clone, causing his caverns reverb to make a fizzy sound. I've emailed Keeley, is this normal? So he's got the Ryra and then he's running it into the caverns down and he's getting a nasty crackle.
Okay. Well,
so
a couple of things could be happening there. I don't know how much output, how much you're driving the Ryra. But I would just see what happens if you reduce the output level. Does the crackle go away? Are you hitting the caverns too hard, or is it something else? So the first thing I would be looking at is power, making sure that the pedals are getting enough current they need. Because if they don't get the power, the current they need, and the voltage they need, then they're not going to be able to deliver the headroom the pedal's designed to deliver. So yeah, I'd be having a good look at that. But see if by reducing the output of now how much above unity is your overdrive pedal?
Yes, could be that. And it depends whether it's actually a crackle that's happening all the time, or whether it's a sort of whether it's just a very high treble content of the tone. Because a crackle would suggest extraneous noise and something wrong. But
sure.
That very kind of high-end fizzy thing is something that's in the tone. That could well be just the extra buffer.
Yeah.
Because you've got...
Doesn't say... Discovered that my digital overdrive crackle sound is my... Okay, so he's taking the Ryra and he's punching that into the caverns. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so try those. Try those things. Look at your power. Look at your how much output from the Ryra. But Robert would be the man to sort that out for you.
Cool.
He's a good egg.
Jeffrey Raddick. Hello, Jeffrey, and thanks for that. The California tweed amp behind you in recent videos has been tantalising. I'm eager to see a video where you comment on it. Well, interestingly, I shot one today. That's what I was doing this morning. I came in, I plugged in, compared it a bit to the Lone Star, and as it happens, I've used it in a couple of things just recently. So that might go out tomorrow because I'm trying to get a video out tomorrow. So it's all about the California tweed. Yeah, semi-interesting, I would say.
Well, I think for me personally, it's my favourite sounding boogie that I've heard in years.
It's really cool. It's really,
wonderful.
really cool. It does all those in-between gain sounds utterly brilliantly. So more like a vintage amp. Yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, you'll be able to hear it tomorrow if I can get it edited in time, which I think I can.
AJ Martin 0321. I'm going to say this AJ Martino 321. He says, "Hey guys, so glad I caught this one. What are your thoughts regarding Mick's Collins 290 versus Dan's Nick Huber neck? I'm between the two currently, and none are close to check out in person." Boy,
are you talking specifically about the neck shape?
I think he is. Yeah, he's talking about the necks.
Yeah,
they're very different. So the Nick Huber, extremely comfortable. It's a like deep C or a C. I think anything's deep after been playing red. But it's like, yeah, C-shaped neck. Yeah, very comfortable. It's got that, check out the way that Nick does the neck joint to the guitar. It's just divine. So, yeah, great access. Great.
Yep.
How is the 2290? Yeah, how's that? What's the shape of that one, Mick?
It's also C, but it's a bit bigger than the Huber. So It's got a bit more shoulder in it, and it's slightly deeper as well. It's quite a big, or most Collings necks tend to be pretty big, or at least the three that I have are all pretty big.
Right.
And it's such a weird thing, isn't it, neck shape? Because I would say, by and large, most people don't like big clubby necks. Lots of people do, but I would say the majority of people probably prefer something a bit slimmer. And it can be really off-putting to start with, but once you get used to it, I now really struggle with guitars with small necks.
Yeah, right.
Of course, there's a tonal thing too. Bill was a great believer that much of the guitar's tone is in its neck, and the more wood you can get in there, and the stiffer that neck is, the better chance the guitar has of sounding good. That said, plenty of good whippy neck guitars that sound great.
I think Simon's trying to call you on FaceTime.
Right, if it goes off again, I'm going to throw it on the ground and storm out. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Okay, pajamas. Well, Mick is trying to get Simon on. Pajamas has asked, how does pickup height affect the ability to clean up your tone with the volume knob? Benefits of low versus high pickup height. Thanks, guys. Interesting. Actually,
Sorry, Dan.
So what I would say is, right, you need to remember that the pickup heights are then magnets, and they have obviously the string vibrates through a magnetic field that creates an AC voltage, and that's where your sound is. But it has to vibrate through a magnetic field. Now, the closer that the pickups are to the string, the stronger that magnetic, the pull of the magnets are on the string. And there's this thing called, there's the inverse square law. The basically, if you halve the distance, take a pickup height of the magnet to the string, you halve that, and it basically doubles the output. Halve that again, it's doubled again. So now what happens if the pickups are too close to the strings? It kills a lot of the sustain. You get wolf notes and these sorts of things. So getting the balance right, where the pickups are close enough to the string to get enough output, but further enough away from the string to get nice sustain. A good example is the neck pickup on a Strat. If you think about the way that the string vibrates, you're going to be vibrating in a larger circle the further up the neck that you go. Now, if that neck pickup is too close to the strings, it's going to cause all sorts of issues. But get it further away, and it'll solve those. Inversely, if the bridge pickup on a Strat is closer to the strings, you get less of those issues because it's not vibrating in such a large, large circles through that magnetic field. Does that make sense?
I think so.
And now, how does that affect cleanup?
Really depends on the pickup.
Yeah, right. Okay, there you go.
And the strength of the magnets.
Yep.
So if you've got real weak, I don't know, A2 pickup with low windings and weakish magnets, it's going to affect it more than if you've got some real bitchin' A5. I've been talking to various people that say there are some pickups which the height doesn't really make a great deal of difference because the magnets are so powerful anyway. So,
okay.
I guess try it is the answer.
Yeah.
And then, as with all these things, you're into a compromise of if you play predominantly with your volume down a bit, then optimize your pickup height for that. But if you play with the volume up all the time, then optimize. Yeah, I mean, I guess the more sort of balanced and sensitive and tweaky an instrument is, the more it's going to respond to all of the above.
Mm.
Whereas if it's, a bit of 10 pound any wood with a super distortion in it, lowering the pickup's not going to make much difference. I wouldn't think. But.
Sure. Airfire says, evening, gents. I was in hospital with COVID. Oh, heavens.
Man, so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, mate. TPS really kept me going. And coming home to my TPS T-shirt was great. That's brilliant.
Great.
He says, I remember Tash Sultana being mentioned before. This is payment for your time to listen. Stay safe, stay well.
Thank you.
Thank you, FI. Yes, I did have a really good listen to her stuff. She's amazing. Her live performances were just wonderful. Yeah, really, really cool.
I'm going to do that because up until this point, I genuinely thought it was a joke.
What, Tash Sultana?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought somebody was pulling our leg. Is Sultana a real name?
It can't be a real name. I don't think her family's name is. His name is Dave Sultana.
Well, it might be, I suppose. Sultana. Yeah,
Sultana is what you call raisins over here.
Oh, let's get into that. I mean, currants, raisins. What are the others?
Sultanas.
Sultanas. There is clearly a definition, and somebody could get to it in the comments. They're all dried grapes, aren't they? At the end of the day, I think
They are. They are.
Well, maybe raisins aren't.
One's a Merlot, one's a Chardonnay.
I bet it is. It's like a black grape or a white grape. I bet that's what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, John Newquist. Hello, John. And thank you very much for that generosity. Hey, guys. Thanks for showing up week in, week out. Well, just try and get rid of us. TPS is my favourite show. Oh, thank you. I'm looking to buy another 89 Rickenbacker for nostalgia's sake. My first electric was a brand new 89 Jet Glow 360. Do either of you own a Rick? We don't. And no. If you haven't already, please watch the show that we did with Dave Gregory, formerly of XTC and of Big Train and Dan's big mate.
The Gregory Maggi.
And we did a real good show with Dave where he talked a little bit about some Rickenbackers. It brings in some pearls, some absolute stunning examples. I've always been rude about Rickenbackers. There was a thing on Guitarist magazine where we were just summarily rude about them. And instead of Fireglow, we'd say Firewood and things like that. Because one of the staff there had a particular hatred of how they were. He didn't think they were made great. But anyway, since those days, I think I've learned to identify the sound of Ricks. And once you get past all the really great obvious stuff, like the Byrds, who else had them? Beatles, very famously. Once you get past all that, it is astonishing how much just normal great music they turn up in it, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And because I was ignorant to how great they were. I wasn't listening out for it. And now I hear something and I'm like, man, that is a Ricky and we should so get one.
Yeah, okay.
What should we get? I mean, we should get a 12, but maybe a 6 would be cool as well.
Yeah. I think we need an SG and definitely a Ricky.
Oh, maybe let's do that then.
Okay. We've got to get a 12. We've got to get a Ricky 12.
Yeah, that would be the first place, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
that would
for
be the
sure.
First place. So, John,
what a sound.
Apologies if my initial comments were offensive in any way, but let it be said that Rickies hold a special place in both of our hearts now, and we should absolutely get on it. So, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
David Rustad. Thank you, David. He says, you guys are total legends. Cheers, mate. So very many thanks. I have a Neo micro vent that turns off whenever I hit it with much gain. It's been running it after my drives and before a Volante. Thoughts? Needed you too. No, you don't need a G2.
Are you giving it enough power? My
power.
First question.
Check your power supply. I think it's more likely to be a problem with your power supply than anything else. Yeah. Yeah. Me too. But or contact the guys at Neovent. They're very cool.
Yes. In fact, I had an email from Guido. His name is, and he said, "Hello, Mick. Really great to see you."
Guido. Whoa! Sorry.
Really great to see that you used the mini vent in the recent show with Dan. Why didn't you choose the micro vent, just out of interest? And I had to say, oh blimey, because I haven't spent enough time with it. Is the actual truth of the matter. But it may be making an appearance soon.
Okay, cool.
In something else that Dan and I are doing. So yeah. Actually, talking of righting wrongs. As I've done from Rickenbacker, I need to right a wrong from, I think it was last week, where I described Maren Morris as cheesy country.
Okay.
And I've been listening to Maren Morris on non-stop all this week, and I'd like to retract my cheesy statement and say that it is exceptionally awesome music.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if you're heavily into classical music or prog rock, you may consider it cheesy. But for the record, I do not.
I have been very impressed with your taste in music, and everything that you've sent me to listen to so far, I think has been bang on the money. So, yeah.
I don't think you'll like Maren Morris. There's this song called Rich. Where she's singing about if she had money for every time her man lied to her, she'd be rich.
Right.
And the chorus goes, Rich, head-to-toe Prada, Benz on the driveway, yacht in the water, etc. And it's brilliant because it's sort of bringing a bit of bling to country, and I love it.
Nice.
I absolutely love it.
Nice.
Tommy R says, hello guys, from Adelaide, South Australia. I sat on a plane there for 4 hours once. Any chance Dan knows Chris Chaney from The Living End? I can honk Chris Chaney. Thoughts on his playing style and sound? Would love to see him on the show if you know him.
So I don't know Chris, I've never met him, but my drummer that I played with for years and years in Australia, a guy called Paul Wheeler, who was the drummer from Icehouse, very dear friend of mine, played with him for a while and commented on his playing. He is incredible. So I first saw The Living End playing on a TV show, like a kids show, some Saturday morning show in Australia. And they were like metal rockabilly.
Yeah.
Then he went to Gretsch guitars.
Yeah.
Like he had like a Kramer or something, and whammy and stuff. Then he went to more traditional Gretsch guitars and just I remember seeing a wall of amps and tape delays and stuff. His sound, I mean, a stunning player. Like imagine it's like Setzer, but with a real definite edge. There's a different edge to his playing the Setzer, like a harder edge, more definite edge.
It's like Setzer meets Green Day, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, bang on. There you go. Just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And if you see any footage of their live performances and stuff, I mean, get out of town. They are just amazing.
He's really cool. I interviewed him once, and he just had a limited run signature Gretsch.
Right.
And I think that's how we got the interview. But he was telling me he was using like 200 watt Wizard amps, I think.
Right. Wow.
Like those things that Malcolm used to use.
Wow. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, real, a good dude. It would be wonderful to have him on if they're
Oh
coming
yeah,
over.
man! If there's ever opportunity to have those guys on, would jump at that.
Yeah.
Kyle Milbrandt. Good morning from Arizona. Good morning, Kyle. Gentlemen, I just ordered a new V8 octal preamp from Sano Music Solutions. What do you guys think of octal preamp tubes? Well, like any preamp tube, it's not the tube. It's the way it's designed. What it's designed to do.
What's an octal? What's an octal preamp tube? One with 8 pins.
An octal preamp tube.
It's 8 pins, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know about octal and novel output tubes, but I didn't know about octal and... How many tubes has a normal preamp tube got then? How many pins has a normal preamp tube got?
Is it 7? I don't know. Hang on, I've got one here.
So is any
Here we go. Early guitar amplifiers from Fender, Gibson and others used what are known as octal preamp tubes, which use the same 8-pin base as 6V6 and 6L6. This tube predated the development of the 12AX7 and is essentially what was there for early guitar amp builders. So, wow, it was, predates the 12AX7 and the ECC83 and all that stuff. That's amazing. Yeah, I don't know any amps that use them.
I'm searching, Dan. Searching for your love.
Early amps from Fender and Gibson. So I'm wondering if the old, what's that old Gibson circuit? There's the gold grill and stuff in them. I wonder if they use them. Yeah, interesting. I don't know enough about them, so I can't have an opinion.
I have an interesting tube here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pins. Nope. 2, 4, 6, 7. Nope. That's a CV 4014, which are those Mullards that they use in the Victory preamps.
Right.
Developed for NATO, don't you know?
Oh, wow.
So that's not it at all.
Do you know why they use valves in some military equipment and aircraft and stuff?
Electromagnetic pulse.
Because they are immune to the effects of electromagnetic EMP weapon.
Yeah. So next time you see a jet flying overhead, there's some cooking tubes going on in.
The sub started going, just started getting great tone.
He's singing the Top Gun theme to himself, thinking about all his awesome tubes, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's thinking about, if I up that resistor and get a bit more gain out of that one, I wonder if that would...
What if it'd bank a bit better? do, 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 do. Vibhas Patil. Vibhas Patil, hello and thank you for your generosity. Hey Mick and Dan, hope you're well. Is there any pedal that can emulate the elusive 42 sound from the 80s? Is there something about the rack design that translates into a sound that can't be achieved by pedals? I'm not familiar with that. I'm assuming that's is it a reverb PCM 42?
Is that not available in the UA as a plugin?
Probably is.
I think it might be.
Lexicon was owned by Harman Group, I believe.
Right.
Who also owned Digitech. And what you saw in a bunch of Digitech and I'm just trying to remember, Soundcraft, some of the other brands that are owned by Harman Group, some of that Lexicon technology filtered through. So I don't know if that is a clue anywhere. If you look for Harman Group and look at whatever they're making now, Harman, Harman, maybe. We'd have to hear one. Do you know what it sounds like, Dan?
Well, I don't. Well, I know what the Lexicon reverbs sound like. I don't know if it's if this one's particularly different than the rest of their, but they have the sound. Do you remember the Supernatural, which was the pedal that's who did that line of pedals?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was Digitech.
Hardware. Hardwire.
Yeah, it was Digitech Hardwire.
Digitech Hardwire.
Yeah.
And the Supernatural was designed with those algorithms, and it's an amazing sounding thing. Sorry, off the top of my head, see, they weren't. I mean, I'm sure guitar players use them. They were studio reverbs.
Yeah. We should really do a rack show. Because
I'm up for doing a rack show.
I have this hypothesis that may or may not be true. There is something about line level and mains power that is significant in racks. Okay. So if by the time you take the mains power out of it and you're running it on 9 volts and you're running it at instrument level, that's 2 massive changes.
See, there's a difference. If you've got a big transformer, right? See, take the CE1 for example. The mains powered CE1. Now there's a transformer with that. I think that goes down to 24 volts, right? If you take mains power in, which is AC, and then you got a transformer that pumps out 24 volts DC. There's a big difference between that 24 volts DC or taking a 9 volt input and using things like charge pumps and stuff to go up to 24 volts.
Yeah.
It's a different result. I mean, I've never been a fan of charge pumps anyway.
I like it in the car.
I mean, you can design them in and stuff and they work, but, things like, transformer isolated things, ways to increase voltage inside, things like transformer isolation stuff that you can use to do that, for me is a much better way. So you can do things like taking a transformer out of a CE1, which I've done, and using a 24 volt input, like using a really good 24 volt DC power supply, sounds exactly the same.
Right.
You match but if you're putting in a 9 volt input, trying to get that, up that voltage, it can be challenging.
Interesting. Okay, well, Vibhas, we shall endeavour to look at some rack stuff and see if we can include some Lexicon maybe in there.
Oh, let's get like the ADA MP1 and get some. What was the Boogie rack preamp?
There were many. There was a studio preamp. There was a Triaxis.
The Triaxis.
There was a quad.
Man, I heard some epic sounds from a Triaxis. They were great.
Yeah.
Let's do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Right, Patrick Carroll. Thanks, Patrick. He says, Dan, as an Aussie, are you a fan of Xavier Rudd or Vance Joy? Vance Joy, they had that song. Is that Why You Got to Be So Rude? Is that Vance Joy?
No idea.
Which I thought was really good. Great, amazing production. Let me just double check that. I'm pretty sure that was them.
Oh, like the reggae song where he wants to marry her and I'm going to marry her anyway.
That one.
Yeah. That was a great track.
Is that them?
I don't know.
Vance Joy. I'm probably thinking of.
While you're doing that, Dan, Andrew Moore says, can I still buy stuff from your website? Are you still delivering outside of the UK? Yes, we are, Andrew, very much so. Thatpedalshowstore.com. Please go there and buy stuff because, we want to get up and running again. Yes, we are very much open for business in the store. Thank you for asking. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, Dan, did you find what you were looking for?
I didn't. I think it might be called a different title of the song. Anyway, is it Riptide? I think that's it. But they were great. Yes, that's it. Riptide. I used to play that with Doug. Great song. Yeah, so they're really good. I love the production on that song is actually quite amazing. But I don't know the other one, sorry.
Okay, and then Patrick says, is mains what British call 3-plug power? Yeah, what do you call it in the US? Like what comes out the wall is mains voltage. So that's what we call mains electricity. I don't know what you call it in the US. What do you call mains power in the US?
Mains, surely.
Don't know. Dunno.
Cool.
JJ, how do I fit a Jim Dunlop wah on a pedal board? If I remove the feet, the bottom plate comes off. Thanks. What we do is build up layers of 3M dual lock, which is what we call pedal board tape, and you can build it up in layers and just make it slightly deeper than the feet. Mm-hmm. You could also take the rubber off the screws that screw in. Some pedal boards, I've done a pedal board before where I've just drilled out little recesses for the feet and then put the Velcro on as normal.
Can I offer a suggestion though? My suggestion would be if you, like many of us, use your wah pedal as the first input, then don't put it on your board.
Yes, good shout.
Leave it out for two reasons. One, it'll make the board more compact. It'll give you more space to put other things on there. But the battery in a wah pedal lasts for ages.
Yeah. And
then just having it on the floor and then a patch there to go from that into the main input of your rest of your pedal board. As long as the wire's got a really good true bypass, then for me it makes sense to have it on the floor, and you can sort of place it more ergonomically, sort of on an angle as well.
That's a great shout.
Yeah.
You could also put it on the monitor.
I like it.
Actually, monitors don't exist anymore, do they?
They do. Or you could stick it on your singers' in-ears.
La 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 da da do 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 do. ISYW says, I just purchased an RE201 thanks to you guys. Good for you.
Nice.
We still have that show to do. We sort of got caught out by COVID. We managed to do the single head tape delay. We didn't quite get into the 201s and the multi-heads. Matt from Boss, if you're watching this, can you please send us an RE20?
Oh, yeah, please, mate.
We need one.
And every version of the Space Echo ever made.
Well,
please.
They've got them all there, haven't they?
They do.
They've got them in Reading. So once social distancing gets eased a bit further, we can get them in and do the whole lot. Sean Colbert says, also, whoever sends the T-shirts out from the shop does an exceptional job, brilliantly packed. Just bought my third. That would be Catherine. Catherine packs about 98% of the orders and does an amazing job of packaging and making sure stuff looks nice and feels great when you get it. Thanks, Catherine.
Yes, thank you, Catherine. She does an incredible job. James Emerson says, Dan, are you still getting lessons with Mark Johns? He was my teacher while studying at AIM. What a player and what a guy. Yes, James, I am getting lessons with Mark. They haven't been as regular lately as I would like, as we've been busy dealing with this other stuff. However, he is my guitar teacher and he is absolutely incredible. I've never met a guitar player, A, so accomplished, and B, who can actually explain really coherently what he's doing and get you to understand his approach. He's amazing. Hopefully, I'm doing a video soon. Hopefully he's going to appear in it. But he is an absolute phenomenon. He was in an old, like a jazz fusion thing called Pond Life. And it's just extraordinary. Mark Johns, what a legend.
There was one here about someone still waiting for their T-shirt in the US. Yeah, unfortunately, with COVID and everything, sometimes batches of stuff gets pulled out and thrown into customs. Plus COVID, it can take. Well, I think the worst we've had is like 5 weeks, but normally it's 4 or 5 days. So apologies that hasn't got there yet. Now, there was another question here. We missed somebody's super chat somewhere, Dan, and I can't find it here.
Hang on.
Apologies, they all come in so fast. Anyway, okay, we'll pick it up. Hopefully, Bev can show us that. Missed super chat comments on buying pedals during the virus. I want a better quality OD boost. Thinking rock and metal, I already have a TS Mini. Looking at a Ryra, do I just get a D&M drive? If you're thinking of rock and metal, I wouldn't choose a D&M drive personally.
I was thinking of rock, I would.
Rock, maybe, but like blues and rock, but rock and metal, I'd probably go with something with a more sculptable mid-range. For example, the JHS Andy Timmons is a fantastic high gain overdrive pedal.
It really is. It's extraordinary.
I don't know what I got confused by all the versions.
Yeah, actually, the one with the 3-band EQ is my least favourite.
Is it?
Yeah. The latest one, the AT Plus, is my favourite.
Yeah, I would agree with that, which is convenient, but I would agree with that. Yeah, so check out the JHS AT Plus, or the
Rattler.
Yeah, Rattler's really good. That's sort of hairier metal, like 80s. Has a really interesting mid-range. And the Sir Riot range is a good shout.
Who said there's Don Retberg just commented, the Tumnus Deluxe. If you're after boosting that sort of stuff, the Tumnus Deluxe is a really good shout with that because it is more sculptable. Yeah,
it's a tough one actually.
Because it's tricky.
So many great things out there. So many great things out there. What have you already got? You've already got a TS Mini. Yeah. So you could either use the TS Mini to boost into the whatever else you get, or put the TS Mini after, which would shape it in the sort of metal vein.
Jim Valva. What a great name. Jim Valva. It says, I agree with Mick and Dan. I have the JHS AT Plus and a mini tube screamer in front of it, which is really cool. Brad, thank you, Brad, for that. That's really kind. He said, greetings from Orlando, Florida. We were there. When were we in Orlando? We were there earlier this year before all this stuff. July. And we just had the best time. It was so great. Addicted to the show, he says, inspired me to relearn the instrument and go tone chasing myself. That's so cool. Keep up the amazing work. P.S. If you're needing a Boss RE20, I have one you all can borrow. Thank you, Brad. That's very kind. We won't get you to send it from Orlando, though. We will hit up our friends at Boss and I'm sure they've got one.
We won't entrust it to the Atlantic Ocean. That could be risky. Who have we got here then? We've got John Reed. Hello, John. Hi,
Hey,
guys.
John.
Great job as usual. Keep up the great work. Any thoughts on the JPTR FX Fernoir wacky delay pedal? I know most of their pedals are nuts. JPTR?
Don't know it. Why don't we know it?
JPTR effects. Jupiter
Okay.
effects, is that maybe? JPTR?
Let's have a look.
Fernoir. Yeah, don't know. So we need to have a look. Fernoir wacky delay pedal. Nope, that's something we should check out. So many great pedals out there.
There really is.
Goodness me. I've taken a step back into Tube Screamer land, Dan.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I realised I spread myself too thin with all these weird overdrives and wonderful sounding things, and I needed to ground myself again.
Okay. So what's been the outcome of that?
The Maxon AD9 with the bad bob in it,
Wow.
which sounds really great, actually.
Awesome.
That's
Have you got there?
That's the current thing. This into this really does sound cool. If you listen to that thing I've sent you, that's what that is. It's this into this.
Oh, wow, nice. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
listened today, man. It's so cool.
So, yeah. Sometimes you just got to go back to bass
Yeah, totally.
and remember what it was you loved about guitar tone in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh,
David Hegarty says, hey guys, thanks for keeping the show on the road. Just want to thank Dan for his interval vlog. Using lockdown to learn theory and something as simple as mapping songs to intervals has done wonders. That's awesome, David. I'm so glad you got you found it useful. I remember that stuff for me was such a revelation, and I use it whenever I'm playing. I use it constantly. It's really, really awesome. That's great, mate. You're so welcome.
Guilo Piazza says, hi, I own a Strymon Ojai power supply. It has 5 isolated outlets. Each output has 500 milliamps.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's possible to use one of the outputs with an isolator so that one output can feed more pedals? So can you attach a gig rig isolator to a 500 milliamp Ojai out?
You can, as long as the pedals that you're driving from the isolator aren't high current.
Yeah.
So if that thing maxes out at 500 milliamps, I would say make sure that the pedals you're attaching to the isolator are no more than, I wouldn't go above 100 milliamps because you've got to allow for a bit of loss.
Per pedal.
And it should be okay. You know what? I've got I think they're called a Ouija power supply. But I've got one at the office now. Clients bought one in, so I might try it. Try it. It should be absolutely fine.
I've run an isolator off a 500 milliamp output off some.
And it's been okay.
Some brick, yeah, like
yeah,
you
cool.
say.
Yeah, so it should be absolutely fine.
As long as you don't exceed the
current draw.
The current draw, yeah.
Yeah.
James Emerson, Mick, you seem to love the Vemuram Shanks ODS1. Do you think it will ever make an appearance on your board? I bought one and it's fantastic. Using that and a King Tone Soloist. Wow, very, very nice couple of pedals. Maybe. It sounds unbelievably good, and it's so
good.
It's amazingly versatile from that kind of, low gainy stuff through to fairly high gainy, and it almost gets a bit fuzzy up the end there. And the thing I really love about it is the pick dynamic that remains.
Yeah.
However, tonally, it sort of falls between a couple of cracks for me. It's just a great all-round overdrive, and great all-round overdrive is not a sound I use. I either use a mid-boosted tube screamer or I use a fuzz. Or I use a really aggressive transistor overdrive. And a good all-round overdrive is not something I really use. So, yeah, but it does sound amazing. Maybe when I give up finally and just go back to super reverb and one pedal, that might be it.
Nicholas Metcalf says, any good alternatives to the Victoria Reverberamo?
Not a single one. Which is why they all use the Victoria Reverberamo.
Right. There you go.
Now, that may be a bit of a didactic statement. So if anyone does know of a good alternative to the Victoria Reverberamo, that's the one that does reverb and harmonic trem, isn't it?
Let's go with yes.
Is it? I don't know. I think it's the one that Joey and Ariel both like a lot.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I think that's it.
You might be able to put us right on that, but I remember having a conversation with Joey where he's saying it's very hard to find anything that's as good as that, but maybe there is something out there. Dan and Mick says
Herlock.
Dan and Mick, BV Ninja says JPTR Jupiter is a German brand. Okay, cool. Let's check them out.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Check them out.
I've just pulled their site up. It does look really interesting.
Yep.
Dave Herlock, as opposed to Dave Burlock, he says, I've just bought a deluxe bass amp muff and a battalion preamp. What is the best order to put them in? There is no best order, Dave. Try them out. I think either way has potential for some really good sounds. If you put the muff into the preamp, that's sort of more of a traditional way to do it. I think I would start there. Try the preamp into the muff. Could also sound really cool. But start with the muff into the preamp, I would say.
Concurred. Hayden C. Gist. Thank you, Hayden. Thank you guys for everything you do. I love learning about things I don't expect, like guitar tuning and even video editing from Simon's Video. Please come visit Nashville sometime. We were talking about Nashville before COVID kicked off, weren't we?
We were.
Would be great.
So hopefully at some point we're going to be going over and seeing Adrian Ballou and building something for him. And we were talking to Adrian about that before all this kicked off, and he had a bunch of gigs to do. Obviously, they've all been canned, but that is, it's still going to try and make that happen and go out and do that. I am desperate to do a country music special and talk to some of these country players and see the gear they're using and how they get that sound.
It's quicksand. That thing is quicksand because that market is changing so fast.
Yeah.
I think it'd have to be a series of shows, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but that's cool. We'll do a series of country shows all
country
out there.
now is
awesome.
is definitely not what it was.
No, but I think for me, so when I started listening to Johnny Cash, and I forget the name of his guitar player, but there's some really good examples on that kind of Johnny Cash biopic that Gladiator was in. What's his name? The guy from Gladiator.
River
Phoenix's brother, Joaquin.
Yeah. You boys Joaquin Phoenix off in my brain.
But he had this thing, man, that is just, for me, that is, as far as country telly sort of tone is concerned, it was everything. And there's a progression of guitar players after that, but it was so far removed from what was happening with rock and roll and
I don't think
that sort of stuff, and it's so beautiful.
That country scene does not exist anymore, does it? I don't think.
No, but I'm sure there are guys who. I remember. So, okay, check this out. Bit of a tangent. When I was in Australia and I was playing for an artist called Wendy Matthews, and touring with Wendy was an artist called Shanley Dell, and myself and the other guitar player for Wendy, we played guitar for Shanley during the warm-up, the support. And Shanley Dell had just come back from Nashville where she recorded her album. And she was telling us that the album was absolutely incredible. And she gave us the tapes of the sessions. And she said, check this out. So there's this guitar solo on one track, all cut live with the band, right? And it was the most incredible, authentic sounding, just so beautiful. She said, she said, check this out. There were 5 more takes. Each one was just as perfect and but completely different.
No way.
Yep. And she says, these guys, there's a drummer, bass player, and a guitar player that go out as a rhythm section in Nashville. And they're sort of kind of famous. But there's a few ensembles like that.
Yeah.
But she said you could throw anything at these guys and they would just rip it apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be good to get some insight.
I just love the idea of delving into that world and seeing, these guys that, who really understand the roots of country where all this stuff has come from,
I think
I'd love to do that.
Would be super interesting to do.
Really would.
Just to see if you could still find any country there.
Sure. Patrick Carroll, thank you, Patrick. He says, I'm not trying to hog SC, but Dan, ever seen Seven Worlds Collide? Beautiful doc on songwriters recording at Neil Finn's. I haven't, but Ed O'Brien told me about it a while ago. I need to dig it out. I feel that I've let Ed down. I've let Neil down. Most of all, I've let myself down by not becoming more au fait with what's going on there.
Soren Ledit from Denmark says, hi guys, Mick, you should try the Soloist, which has the added body knob. It's the best TS out there in my opinion. Love the show. I guess you're talking about the King Tone Soloist, which was mentioned earlier, Jesse Davey. I've got the Dualist, which I'm guessing is half the Soloist, but maybe this extra body knob. Yeah, I'd love to try it. I walked away from Tube Screamers for a little while there, but I feel like I'm heading back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Who else we got here then?
Andy Milne says, Dan, what trousers are you wearing? Do you still own those yellow ones? Well, I leased those yellow ones. I have an option to buy them. But at the moment, I am... No, I won't show you. I won't show you what I'm wearing at the moment. Let's just say everyone's lucky that this is just a headshot.
Those leased trousers have gone back to the ruddy-faced, horse-owning Range Rover driving, ginger-haired, cap-wearing bloke who lives down the road from me. The only time I ever see him, he's doing like a ton 30 in his Range Rover with his yellow trousers. You know that guy.
I do.
Heine 2000 from Norway.
Heine!
Says, been looking at the Free the Tone Reverb and the SOV2 lately. Do you have any experience with the pedals? Also struggling to choose between the SOV2 and the Greer Lightspeed. Okay, SOV2 and Greer Lightspeed are very, very, very different beasts. Here's the SOV2. Here is the Greer Lightspeed. Somewhere.
Oh, they're worlds apart.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Where are you, Greer Lightspeed? Shout at me.
You pulled it out the other day, didn't you?
That's what she said. Okay, so we're talking about the Greer Lightspeed and the SOV2 from Free the Tone. This one, ultimate, more, I don't want to say transparent, but kind of, that's what it is. Just a great bit of extra up to, it would be the technical explanation. That, more charge pump, high headroom, still very, very dynamic, but with a mid kick, not entirely unlike a Tube Screamer. So they're very different things. Very different things. This was Matt Schofield's sound for a long time in the old form.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was his favourite overdrive pedal for a long time. And he had a signature one, if you remember. Whereas this is just lovely, crunchy, extra.
So good.
Yeah, what are we going to say? Should we be totally reductive, Dan?
Yep.
Completely and utterly reductive and go, blues! Southern rock.
I like that. That works for me.
Because I think if we want to get more views and we want to appeal to more people on the internet, Dan, we have to reduce everything to didactic, meaningless statements.
Okay.
I think that would be a good way for us to grow.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'm all about personal growth.
Promise people answers, like over-promise and under-deliver.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm right there.
Yeah.
I'm right there.
Yeah.
Just I saw a really interesting question here. Where is it? Here we go.
My sister's got an SOV2.
Thoughts on that, Dan Polanski's method of facing the cab of your amp away from the audience to be able to crank it without destroying everyone. Yeah, it's cool. The challenge then is you need to get your sound that inspires you on stage. See, I've been recording at home, right? And I'm finding that with my amp working well within its limits is the best sound that I get from it. My amp's cranked. I mean, it has a sound, but I don't know. I'm really enjoying the sound of the amp. Not, it's working a bit, but not cranked. If that makes sense.
There's a sweet spot, isn't there?
There is a sweet spot
in all amps.
And if that sweet spot is really, really, really loud, then sure, face the amp to somewhere else.
Yeah.
It might work.
Roy Buchanan.
I think I'd probably do that as opposed to, Perspex panels, personally.
Yeah, I don't mind the Perspex. Roy Buchanan used to lie the amp flat on its face.
Oh, interesting.
And just crank it up. In my days of, I'm not comparing myself to Dan Patlansky or Roy Buchanan, but in my function band days, many were the gig where the amp ended up under the stage.
Oh, nice.
Because the sound guy was like, no way.
Okay.
No way. So under the stage worked all right as well.
Cool. Victor Eduardo Lopez. He says, hello, gents. What would be your first choice of fuzz for riffing? Also, could you be my uncles? We might be your uncles.
We are.
Victor? Can't, certainly can't guarantee that we're not.
Yeah.
Fuzz for riffing, that's a really interesting one. I would say a Big Muff. Something along those lines. Oh. Riffing, you must try the Big Cheese. Not the Big Cheese, the Field Marshal from Thorpe.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Yeah. He's just teamed up with Dan Coggins and they've done takes on the original Love Tone pedals, haven't they?
Yeah, sort of updated sort of Love Tone things. And the Field Marshal is basically an updated Big Cheese. Man alive.
It is
honestly, it might be my favourite Thorpe pedal. And, I've got this, I love a lot of them. We've done the TPS version of the flanger, which is, I use it all the time. Oh, man, that Big Cheese is something else.
Do you know what my favourite?
The Field Marshal. Unreal.
That's my favourite Thorpe pedal.
The Warthog.
It's almost the most undersung pedal in his whole range. And blimey O'Reilly, do I love that pedal.
Awesome.
That almost goes fuzzy, actually. You crank the...
Oh, it does, yeah. That's really good.
Crank the caliber, that's really good. Other than that, stay away from a fuzz face because it's too bassy.
Yeah.
Mark 1 tone bender. Awesome.
Yes. Great for riffing. Tone benders. Really good.
Utterly awesome. Anything you can scoop a bit of bass out of, I would say.
I like that.
Zonk Machine, not so much. Too many harmonics. So it doesn't, unless you're single string riffing, it can get a bit messy. Yeah.
Okay. Slinky FN says, I've got about $3,500 to spend on a guitar and I play rock and heavy metal. Any recommendations? Loads. Well, actually, rock, we got loads, but I don't know about metal.
Yeah, get 2 guitars.
There you go. 2 guitars. Great.
Yeah, you could get a really nice...
Nice Les Paul for about $3,000.
Yeah, and then a Gem Junior.
There you go. Done.
Yeah, you can't ask me and Dan about metal. Literally no idea.
No.
I still think classic guitars sound the best.
Yeah.
Personally. I still think, but it doesn't work for the modern sound. Modern.
Sure.
Listen to me. The sound since 1995, it doesn't suit.
Right.
I don't think. But yeah, Come on, let's ask it. Let's answer this question, Dan. Rock and heavy metal, $3,500.
Okay. Let me think.
Number one, buy the guitar you want and like the look of. That's the best way to buy a guitar because you'll want to play it. Yeah, that's quite tough.
Okay, right. See if you can find an early 80s Gibson reissue of the Carina Flying V. And that will be all of your boxes ticked. The reason I say that is because I had one. And it is the most phenomenal guitar, and it will do that. The thing about Vs, the weirdest thing about Vs, and work this out, Nick, even your modern mega poly crazy headstock V has a thing about it that the old Carina Vs have got. It's something really weird, and I don't fully understand it.
Totally.
But there's something about that body shape.
Yep.
But if you can, like the old, so I bought one and I loved it. I sold it to buy the Les Paul, and I tell you why. It's because I was playing it and I absolutely loved it. I use it in the studio. It's all over the Tin Spirits album, Scorch. If you listen to I think it's the opening track called Carnivore, that is all that Flying V. And it was the most epic guitar. And then one day I saw myself in the mirror with the Flying V. I think it was on sale on eBay the week later.
What?
I just couldn't. I looked at myself in the V and just went, no.
Oh, man, I'd have had the opposite.
You cannot. I looked like an idiot. I couldn't pull that guitar off. There are people who can. I was not that guy.
Oh, Dan.
Yeah. It might be different now. Because Dave Gregory brought one along to rehearsal. I wish we could post pictures on this. So I've got this amazing picture of me and Dave, both with our Flying Vs at rehearsal. Actually, when our singer Mark got married, Dave and I had our Flying Vs together, and we made an arch for the bride and groom to walk under. It was so cool. Great guitars. But yeah, when I saw myself with it, I just thought, no, that's not for you. But yeah, I think that's a really good option. Rock, absolutely. Metal, absolutely.
Nice. Yep.
There you go.
Yep. Yes. Flying V. Nick Larson. Hello, Nick. Nick says, watching TPS resulted in my friends buying a bass, the other a new telly, and his first tube amp. Thanks for helping me essentially put together a band. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Well done. Cool. That's awesome.
Bryson Cook says, Mick, you seem to be in more comical mood. I hope that's a good sign of getting back out of a rough week. Absolutely it is. Thank you for your concern. Stephen Doig Music says, Mick, I went to the Crazy Parts website after your vlog. Couldn't work out how to order stuff. Is it like a blog? No. There is a bit of convoluted menu business on the left-hand side there. But, you should be able to click through and add stuff to cart in the way you would. That's how I did it, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. KG Photo says an EVH Wolfgang for the rock and metal guitar. That's not a bad shout.
Yeah.
Not a bad shout. Carvin, Kiesel. Yeah, all these brands that Dan and I basically know nothing about. Music Man
is another really good one.
Yeah. One of those mad things with no headstock.
Oh, what's those guitars with like the square necks?
Yeah, those
when we were in Germany that we played. That was
Sarah. What's her name? Sarah. Awesome. Absolutely.
Sarah.
Awesome.
She was unbelievable.
I'll remember in a minute. Anyway.
Sarah.
One of those. Interesting. Somebody said earlier about the soloist from Jesse Davey. You get more headroom at 18 volts. I made an interesting discovery the other day, Dan.
Yes.
I don't like any of my pedals at 18 volts.
Yeah, okay. I totally get that.
I plugged the broadcast in at 18 volts. Just...
Too clean.
Too clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way too clean. I mean...
Yep.
If that's what you want, a super high headroom preamp, then yeah, for sure. But I like it for all the other things it does, like the kind of chewy that it has.
Yeah, definitely.
But,
I'm the same. Look, 9 volts is absolutely tons of headroom. You can design 9 volts. That's a massive range you've got there. Yeah. And if the designer has designed a pedal to work at 9 volts, because that's the sound that he's designed, and if let's say it can take 18 volts, if the capacitors are large enough to take the voltage, it might sound really great, but it won't be, unless the designer has designed it to sound great at 18 volts, it won't be the sound that they designed. If that makes sense.
There is an amp issue here as well, because it really does depend what you're plugging it into. The kind of amps that I use, I don't need any more headroom.
Right.
Into those things. Whereas it might be that if your amp sounds a bit squashy and needs a bit of a stronger, maybe that's why you like it a bit more, because the amp's already given up a bit. So it's all a balance, isn't it? It's an ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. Strandberg guitars, yes, and Sarah Longfield.
Sarah Longfield. Sorry, Sarah, that we forgot your name. We met Sarah in Germany.
I think we just couldn't manage to do a show with her, but I remember, because I didn't know who she was the first day we got there, and we got back to the hotel and I watched some of the videos and I was absolutely gobsmacked. And the next morning we had breakfast, I went down and said hello, and she was great. It's this really interesting video she did, actually, where there was like 4 or 5 of those, shredders doing their thing. She had tone, man. She didn't have that thin, scratchy thing. She had a lovely, warm tone. It was really nice.
I saw the guitar, which had like this V-neck and no headstock and this weird thing here, and just went and ran into the woods. Sat under a tree until somebody brought me a Strat. That's how that went. Derek Webber says, are you ever going to get a Soldano on the show? What are your thoughts? Yes. Somebody has told me that one of his mates has got an original 80s SLO 100 and he's willing to
Well, we met
to us.
Mike, didn't we, at NAMM?
We did. So I want to listen to a proper old hand-wired one compared to whatever it is that if the new ones are out yet, and just have a listen, because that was an astonishing amp, and I've got a horrible feeling I'm really going to love it.
Right. So what was the Slow famous for?
It was the big, essentially modified Marshall, but with gain.
Oh, right, okay.
And for a minute there, everyone used them.
Yeah.
So Clapton and Knopfler and...
Oh, really?
Yeah, everyone was using them for a minute there. Yeah. Yeah. I've never actually played one, so I really don't know.
Right. BV's just said, Dan, the name of the making of the Neil Finn doc is called The Sun Came Out. The album is called Seven Worlds Collide. Thank you, BV. I'm going to check that out. I've met Neil, obviously, and I spoke to him a little bit, and he uses some of our stuff on his board, but I get a bit, it's one of those guys I get a bit nervous around, and I get a bit nervous about watching too much of his stuff because I'm so enamored with the guy that I don't know, I feel like I don't know. It's a hard thing to put into words, but I feel if I consume so much of their stuff, I don't know. I feel getting too close, and it's weird.
Okay,
it's hard to explain.
Let's explore this. Is it because you don't want to know something?
I tell you what, there are
songs, what you might know.
There are Crowder House songs that I have purposely never learned to play, because I don't ever want to know the chords. I just want to enjoy them.
That is weird.
And so a lot of the behind the scenes stuff I don't want to know too much about, because I don't want to peek behind the curtain, as it were.
Okay, so you don't want your experience changed.
No,
In short, you don't want to meet your heroes.
I would hate. Look, it's also like there's some Jeff Buckley documentary stuff that I've purposely not watched because I don't want. An example would be. I don't know if I should say this. Here's an example. There was an artist that I adored, absolutely adored. And then one day I got the chance to interview them. And after that interview, I no longer adored them. Which was really,
world.
it's sort of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Finding just
never
having this
never meet your
thing
heroes is what you're saying.
Sorry?
You never meet your heroes is what you're saying.
But no, sometimes it's amazing to meet your heroes. Like, I remember,
it's a saying.
Me and Dave Gregory was life-changing. Andy Timmons, I loved meeting Neil Finn. It was wonderful. But sometimes if you find out, you can find out too much information about them. It's like, I used to really enjoy Ted Nugent's playing until I saw some footage of him.
Here we go.
No, man, I'm not
Watch
into
the
that.
comment section catch on fire.
But no, doesn't take anything away from his playing. But if I'm really emotionally involved with an artist, like I am with Neil, I sort of like if I watched he's doing the isolation bands at Crowded House are doing these daily things at the moment, just playing live, and it is so achingly beautiful hearing Neil Finn just sing with his guitar. It's like, that's why I love him. I don't have this overwhelming desire to know the process. If that makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that was why Dan hasn't watched that documentary.
But I'm not saying I won't. I'm just saying I do that stuff carefully, know. Yeah.
I feel the same way about Taylor Swift.
Right, there you go. Is that why you won't return her calls?
Yeah.
Right.
Literally 20 calls a day. Alexis Rosales Ruiz says, what's the best way to get the Brown sound? Get an old Marshall, get a Variac, use the Variac with the Marshall, turn it up and play.
You take the green sound and you take the yellow sound and sort of mix them together. Is that Brown?
Yeah, and then plug in a really knackered, modified Strat style guitar with the worst Floyd Rose you've ever seen, flat on the body. That is the way to get the Brown sound.
What was the amp that? Let me get this right. Pete Thorne did this incredible show on Steve Vai's amp that he used to get the sound on Eat 'em and Smile, and it's the same sort of amp. Oh no! Hang on.
There were two guys doing mods in California around that time.
There's one specific Marshall. Let me know that Eddie was using, and I think it was the same amp that Steve had. And there's something about those, and but it's a specific one. But the Brown sound's a really interesting thing. I'd love to look at it more. I think you got to be able to play that though.
Yeah, it's basically a cooking amp with some voltage starved from it, is what it is. And I don't know whether they've starved the voltage to make it quieter, or whether, and then the tone was a kind of happy accident.
Right. Or
whether they put the Variac on it for the tone. I suspect it was the former. I suspect they tried it just to make it a bit quieter.
Yeah.
But, so like an amp there are a bunch of modern amps that have a power scaling function in them. The Sir Badger 30, I think it is a really good example of that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and power scaling is different from an attenuator.
Nate Kiersey said the Carvin X100B. Actually, it wasn't. They didn't use the Carvin. They used the Carvin. Actually, the Carvin did appear on a couple of tracks, I think. They cut as demos and ended up keeping those in the final tracks. But Steve wasn't apparently really into it for that album. And he said he was recording something. That's right. He was recording in the studio, and then Steve Stevens was recording in the same studio. And he went in and was so blown away by Steve's tone, and Steve Stevens lent him one of the Marshalls.
Right.
Yeah. And that was the Eat 'em and Smile thing for most of it.
That was that sound.
Yeah, so cool. And did you hear Pete Thorne did he play the solo from Ladies Night in Buffalo or like one of those tracks?
I think
he absolutely nailed it.
I think
it was awesome.
Was he playing Shy Boy or
Shy
something?
Boy, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And he nailed it. It was brilliant. And that, hearing that amp, like that solo wouldn't have been played through that amp for a long time. It's so cool.
Ryan Long, guys, the D&M drive completely changed my tone for my Strat. Awesome. And Dan, your pedalboard building is inspiring. Love the show. Thanks very much, Ryan. That's very
kind. Thank you, mate. That's very kind.
Very kind of you. Hot Black Desiato says, I saw Clapton playing White Room through his Soldano, Scorching Tone. Yeah,
wow.
Were those,
really?
Those would have been those late 80s Albert Hall gigs, would they? Was it around that time? Am I crazy for thinking that? When the Clapton Strat first came out, that sort of era. And there were those nights at the Albert Hall which got captured on video where he's playing like a red one, a pewter one, white one, I think. And he does a bunch of old Cream stuff. Makes a mistake in the solo of White Room, as I remember.
Okay. Is that the album that's got like the cartoon cover?
No, these were live shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know about the album. The album at that time was Journeyman. That was the big record. Right. And then the band was Greg Fillinganes, Nathan East, Phil Collins. Anyway.
Jake Walker says, who was your dream guest on the show?
Oh, we can't say that.
I can say dream guest because it never happened. I'd love to get David Gilmour on. Davey G.
Yeah, so there are a number of dream guests. So just in case any of our dream guests are watching and we don't mention their names, you're all dream guests.
You are, yes, indeed.
Yes.
I'd love to get Vernon Reid on.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about famous people. Sometimes they're so famous, they've forgotten how to communicate with other humans.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes people like me and Dan are so in awe of their fame that we forget how to communicate with them. And it is a weird thing with famous people where you can end up with a very bizarre situation. And really, if you're going to have any meaningful dialogue with somebody, you kind of need to spend a few days with them.
Yeah.
And sometimes the people that we don't know that well when we have on the show, they'll either come down the day before or we'll make sure we have a lunch or we do something just to break the ice and to become familiar. And everyone can do that little thing where they just work out, is Mick really the asshole that everyone says he is? That kind of thing. And you can all just sort of work each other out. And so if Gilmour walked in here now, I think me and Dan would just fall on the floor and then not know what to say.
Yeah. I'd be saying, what strings do you use?
Shine on you. And Gilmour would like, get up, you silly boys. Listen to my guitar tone.
Yeah, and then we'd forget to hit record.
Yeah, nothing would work.
No.
Yeah. Some really awesome pop people would be good to have on.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they?
Definitely. Yeah. I just think he was so original with a lot of those sounds, and the Edge would obviously be another really great one.
Edge would be fantastic.
Just it'd be nice to get your mate
John Mayer.
You interviewed him
John
recently.
Mayer. Not John Mayer.
No, well, John Mayer would be another one, but
who did I? Landau.
Did you see that Instagram post of Ariel playing with John Mayer?
I did. Ariel playing with John Mayer. That was very cool. In a little
unbelievable.
Michael Landau is who you're thinking of.
Michael Landau.
Yeah, there you go. Michael Landau is at the top of my list, along with Philip Sayce.
Yep.
Brad Paisley would be really cool. Actually,
Yeah.
Philip says Brad Paisley. There's so many. There's just so many great players out there.
Yeah.
And do you know, honestly, Dan, after all these years being a journalist and meeting a lot of these people, one of the things that I find really fascinating is all the people that nobody's heard of.
Sure.
Those are the people that sometimes I find even more interesting.
Yeah, sure.
But
I mean, I'd love to get Tom Bukovac on the show. Not that nobody's heard of him.
you distract him, I'll kick him in the nuts. No violence towards Tom Bukovac. Just
from the Smiths, what's his name? Your mate.
Johnny Marr.
Johnny Marr. See,
Johnny Marr
as
is
far
not
as
my mate, by the
originators are
way.
concerned,
I would love him if he
I
was
would love to chat to him about, because those sounds are like, they're a concept.
He is a fascinating dude.
Yeah. There you go, Johnny Marr.
Yeah. Johnny Marr, Gilmore, Landau.
Yep.
And
Brilliant.
with apologies to everyone we've offended for not mentioning them.
To be fair, I've had, like, to get Ed O'Brien and Graham Coxon on the show, and they're two of my heroes. That was really, really big deal for both of us. And so it's amazing that these guys who they have stuff to share, and they're like, they were really cool, and are really up for that. It's just about that stuff is right time, right place. Still desperate to get Katie Tunstall on the show. If we can make that happen, that would be wonderful. She'd be an amazing, amazing guest to have on the show.
Yeah. There's endless, aren't there? Endless.
It's endless. Yeah, it's endless.
Damien Griffith says, Mick, congratulations on the new Mesa California. It's not mine, Damien. It's just on loan to that pedal show. Is there any chance of doing a Tweed show amp shootout with Mesa, Lazy J, Rift, and some other Tweed pedals? Maybe. Hand on heart, Dan and I don't really understand Tweed amps, do we?
No, I mean, I've played a few of them. I'm never really into them, but I love so I have my Lazy J J20, which is it's based on a Tweed Deluxe, but it's got more headroom and more chime. It takes pedals really well. It's sort of everything I didn't like about the Tweed amps that I played. That was all taken out of the J20.
Yeah.
I used that as my main amp for a long time.
Would be a good road to start going down. I mean, let's get a bassman. I've wanted a bassman for ages. Because every time I hear anyone else playing them, I love the sound of it. The Tweed Deluxe is a sound that we know, but we don't really use very much. And Dan Drive is just sending me a Tweedy pedal. So we could kick off doing that and see what we could learn. That Mesa is a really cool amp. I think you're going to love it, Dan.
Oh, it's from all the sounds that I've heard that you've recorded with it. It's just awesome. So great.
Yeah, so maybe we could get in there. Dave Perez says, is it me or is Mick starting to look more like Dan? I think it's just Dan actually has a grown-up's man beard. I have a child's beard, so it might just be that, and the glasses, of course.
A child's beard.
So if you
sort of scary children are you hanging around with?
What? You remember that kid at school who's like started growing a moustache?
Oh yeah,
You're like, are you growing a moustache? Yeah. Yeah.
Eduardo.
Oh, okay.
He went to school on left home Thursday, came to school Friday morning with just a full hairy, like he sneezed overnight and it just all came out. Yeah, I remember him.
Let's get into this. Before we get into this, Steve Welling, Mick, still no piano update. Not really, Steve. I've done some stuff and I'm still embarrassingly awful, so it doesn't really warrant an update. Braxel, I just want to know why Mason from Vertex would show all these examples that the pedal show is showing wet dry wrong. Somebody pointed this out to me the other day. So Mason Marangella, I think is his name, from Vertex Effects. Mason has done some videos, I think, on the correct definitions of wet dry and wet dry wet. And if few people have sent links to me and Dan going, oh my God, you guys have got it wrong. Rewind. Whenever we talk about wet, dry or wet, dry, wet, we always say the correct definition of wet, dry, wet is this. Correct. Whatever. When we talk about it, we use it in this way. So if anyone is getting like bent out of shape about the way things are described, it's, I don't know, it's like it doesn't really matter. I don't think
It doesn't matter. What matters is that you understand what's going on.
Yeah. So like the big difference is wet ought to be 100% wet with no dry signal is the main differentiator. But I think as long as you define your terms once you're getting off on, starting off and you make that clear, I think it's all fine. I'll give you two fantastic examples. Pretty much everyone in the world refers to this as a tremolo. Even says it on the headstock with synchronized tremolo. It's not a tremolo, it's a vibrato. Secondly, this amplifier I've got here says vibrato on the pedal. It's not vibrato, it's tremolo. So I think the guitar world is full of misnomers and iffy definitions of things. I don't know, it's probably not worth getting bent out of shape about, is it?
It really isn't.
If you...
The reality is that this is the thing that we do where you split the signal and all the gains go into one side and the gain plus the other thing. So you've got to remember those time-based effects or whatever, they are wet, but they're just wet in series with the overdrive sound. It's just a different way of doing it. That's not, originally that's, there was in parallel and all that stuff, and that's great. And there's definitely a way to do it. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
This is another way to do it, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, and what you said is the most important thing. If you understand what's happening, what you call it is up to you.
Definitely.
Do watch Mason's videos. They look and sound fantastic. Always look and sound really good. So check out Mason's YouTube channel for sure.
Tony M says, mates, check out the Fender 68 custom range, basement channel and blackface channel. Run into one at a time or both for killer tone. Interesting.
Yes, I've played one. Just a bit more aggressive. So it's a Vibrolux and a Princeton, isn't there, I think?
Right.
And a bit more aggressive, a bit more mid-range. Almost feels like there's less negative feedback or something. Feels like that. Feels more urgent and kind of...
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jonathan Burton says, I made an order from the TPS store and the quality of the stuff was awesome. Shirt, notebook, stickers, etc. and lovingly wrapped in tissue paper. I was so pleased. Love you guys and the show so much. Oh, we love you, Jonathan. Thank you, mate. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It's
Very
so cool.
kind. Gino Inzarillo, or Inzarillo, I'm not sure, says, hi guys, hope you're doing well mentally and physically. We are now, thank you. What's the one guitar that got away? Would you buy it if you could go back? So you're only allowed to choose one, Dan. I've got many.
Oh boy. Yes, okay, I've got it. I was living in Coogee, and when I was there was was it Sunburst Music or something like that, and he had a Refin Black 64 Strat, and this is before I bought my Strat. But this thing, I would go down, and it was like $5,000, and at the time it was just the most ridiculous amount of money. And I would go down every day and just sit and play the thing. And it was the first guitar I ever remember playing that really brought something else out of my playing.
Yeah.
And I remember the trumpet player in the band I was in at the time walked into the shop one day, and he turned around and went, "Oh my God, is that you playing that?" And it just had this thing. And I thought about asking my mum or my brother to loan me some cash. And anyway, went down there one day and it was gone, of course. So that's the one guitar that I wish I had have been able to get.
I guess it would have to be something that was feasibly in your grasp, isn't it? The guitar that got away. No, that's
a guitar that you hadn't sold.
Yeah. So sorry. So that's right for you because you could have, borrowed some cash.
I might have been able to. Yeah, I might have been able to. Yeah.
Yeah. So
feasibly there was a way. There might have been a way to do it.
Yeah, I'm tempted to talk about all the guitars that I could never have afforded and never will be able to afford. So those notwithstanding, it's probably that Collings i30 LC, the aged one.
Oh,
I think that's the best guitar I've ever played.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was astonishing.
It was an astonishing guitar, and I probably could have just about moved some stuff around to afford it.
Right.
So, yeah.
I remember seeing the Collings, like the small Martin looking thing on the wall of the show, thinking to myself, don't pick that up. Don't. Just walk away. And I didn't walk away. And the sound of that thing has haunted me. Man, here's guitars.
Yep.
Boy, oh boy.
Wayne Hannon says, just picked up an original FZ1. Any advice on how to power it?
Oh, so from memory, the FZ1 was a 3-volt, and it was using those little disc batteries, was it? Or using 1.5 volt batteries? I can't remember.
The internet has the answer.
Okay, so you're really hard pressed to find a supply specific for that. So I would say, I think the original batteries, they don't manufacture anymore, but you should be able to get the battery clip changed to accept 2 of those 1.5 double A's, are they?
Literally no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. I mean, a really cool sounding thing.
So the original FZ1 was the Maestro fuzz tone, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the FZ1, I think, and then the FZ1B was the second one. But yeah, the original FZ1 was the pedal that had the lead, the guitar lead, sort of hardwired into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Made famous
shocking sounding thing.
Made
just
famous by
awful.
Keith Richards, of course. Jacaranda Music, £5, says, internet, virtual, safe, distance hugs, guys. And to you as well.
That's very kind. Thank you.
We're just discussing that this week, actually, because they've relaxed a couple of things here in the UK, or they've set a couple of new guidelines, which might mean that we can film again. So Dan and I are just discussing that. We're discussing it. So just what the actual ramifications are, because we need to make the workplace safe and all of that. So anyway, Michael Fours. Hello, Michael, and thank you again for your generosity. Hello, lads. Have you seen JRGB Music YouTube channel? He's doing that pedal show, Funny Moments. Hilarious stuff. Stay safe. We have. It does create a bit of a problem for us, unfortunately, because that is an abuse of our IP, which sounds very, very corporately asshole-ish. But yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to know what to do.
I think it's hilarious. I watched one of them, was crying.
Yeah. It is funny and it's very well done, but it's RIP. So, yeah, consider me unamused. Gabrielle Rodriguez. Good morning, gents from SoCal. Would you mind wishing my wife a happy Mother's Day? Currently watching you guys at breakfast table with her and my lovely children. Well, happy Mother's Day, Mrs. Rodriguez. And I'm sorry we don't know your name. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, hope you've got pancakes and nice things like that.
Aaron Sternke says, thanks for the consistent quality content, boys. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, Aaron. That's very kind. Thank you, mate.
Jake, hello, Jake. Guys, where would you get power amp valves replaced? Depends on the amp, Jake. If your amp has external bias and adjustment test points, you can do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. If your amp is like an AC30, like a cathode biased amplifier, you can also do it yourself.
Yes, because it doesn't require any bias adjustment. Jake has got a Sir Bella, so I don't know what the deal on that.
So contact Sir.
Yeah, and
they will sort you out. They are so on the money. Those guys. They will let you know the best way to do it.
Yeah, who the local best tech is.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, when you change the power valves in an amplifier that has fixed bias, when you put the new tubes in, you need to set the bias of those new valves. On some amps, for example, pretty much the whole of the Victory range, they've got external test and bias points. So you just get a multimeter, you stick it in absolutely safely. There's nothing that can harm you, and you make the adjustment yourself. On other amps, you actually have to open the chassis and go in there and put the multimeter on various points. And that is extremely dangerous, and you shouldn't do it unless you really know what you're doing, which is why you should take it to a tech.
The high DC voltage inside an amplifier is extremely dangerous. One of the reasons being is that if you get hit with AC, I mean it's also dangerous, but AC causes you to it sort of knocks you back. But DC is the same current that we use in our muscles, and if you get hit by DC, your muscles contract. So if you're an amplifier and you're touching something, you're just as likely to it causes your muscle to contract, and you're likely to grab onto it and you can't let go.
Ouch.
Which is really, really super dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can be bothered to drive to Sherborne in Dorset, at the top of the, I think it's called, at the top of the hill where the little roundabout where the bus station is, or the bus stop is, there's a TV repair company there, Godden. I think it's called Godden, on the corner, and the guy in there is called Simon, and he does excellent amp repair and servicing. So if you can be bothered to drive to Sherborne, I know you're in the southwest, but that might be a bit too much of a drive.
John Lawrence says, well, what about ADDC power?
ADDC?
ADDC? Come on, Mark. It's not that hard.
Come on, Mark. ADDC. Dawn says you should have Mason on the show and talk cables, power, and switches. Yeah, mate. For reasons we don't really know, Mason has decided that some of the things that we talk about are all like the worst, are all terrible sins. So I'm not sure why he's doing that, but anyway, if he fundamentally disagrees with everything we talk about, then he probably wouldn't be the best guest to have on the show. But the door's open. The door's open. Chris Collins Guitar says, I've got a 335 Italian, a PRS. Do I need a Strat? Well, yes, obviously. I'm trying to find a way of saying this without upsetting PRS or anyone who owns a PRS. The four guitars every human should own is a Les Paul, a 335, a Strat and a Tele, and then you can substitute any one of those for a Junior, a V, a Gretsch, or a Rick. And once you've got those four boxes ticked, then you can get on out into the world and try other things.
Yeah. Ed Cooper says, I used the TPS wet dry configuration last autumn at a live show, and it was very, very nice. There we go. Can we call it the TPS wet dry? Yeah,
wet dry, dry, dual mono. Call it what you want. It's two amps doing slightly different things, one of which has delay and reverb and the other one doesn't.
There you go. Thank you, G. Barge. That's very kind.
Sorry, Dan, go on.
It's all right. John Featherson says, what do you think about Elliott guitars? Elliott guitars. Why do I know that name?
Never played one.
No, I don't. Yeah. I'm thinking of somebody else. Yeah, I don't know them, John. Don't know them.
Yeah.
But thank you, mate. That's very good of you. Aaron Sternke. Thank you, Aaron. That's very kind. Yeah. Do you have a Les Paul, Stephen Priest? Yes, I have a Les Paul. I have an R8 set to mix left. I searched for that guitar for a very long time, and it's wonderful.
Very lovely it is too.
Lemon Burst.
There was a really good question here that I now have lost. Bryson Cook says, Jason Isbell would be such a great guest to help you dive into tweed amps. He plays them as well as Ed Kong's famous Red Eye Les Paul. He's a perfect guitar nerd for this show. He would be a great guest. He would be a really great guest.
Cool.
Hi Mick, have you ever had any ping noises from your DGT when using the trem due to wear? Don't believe I have. I tell you what that might be, and PRS owners may shoot me down in flames here, but I'm going to suggest something to you. If you've ever adjusted the bridge screws here at the front, nice. I have to play a David Grissom lick. David Grissom's got a new live album out, by the way, so please go and buy that from his
man,
his
I'm
store.
watching some of his live YouTube stuff. He's another guy that
He's
I would
ace.
love to have on. Actually, I was talking to him a while ago about getting him out to do some stuff and building a rig for him. He's amazing.
He is such a great player.
Oh my word! And he's just got that thing, that such a personal thing, that when you hear him, it's like that. You know, that's Grissom. No one else does that.
These screws,
It's just wonderful.
if you've ever adjusted them, they do actually have a notch in them, so they need to be facing in the right direction. I believe is how PRS bridge screws work.
Oh, okay.
So if you've adjusted them and they're not quite on, you might find that the fulcrum point of the, or at least the contact point of the bridge plate might ping against them. I don't know if that's the cause or not. I've never had the problem, but anyway, yeah. Just check that the screws are orientated in the correct direction.
That's my favourite sounding PRS guitar I've ever heard.
It's a great
In your
guitar.
hands. I can't play it,
It is a really fantastic guitar.
but you make that guitar.
Sing.
It talks dirty to me. Wes Chilton says, Mick, tell us about your ISO cab and how your songwriting is going.
That's done.
Wes, the ISO cab is with me, and it has been, without putting too much of a poignant bent on things, it has been an absolute revelation to me, as has the ribbon mic that I put on it a couple of days ago. And you will see more of that soon. But it is poking, maybe I can poke it here, just over there in my left corner. That is the Grossman ISO cab. And
So Dan, you got an ISO cab and you put a ribbon mic on it. How long did it take you to get a great guitar sound?
it took me about 3-4 seconds to get an absolutely killer tone. I plugged it in and turned it up, and that's all I did. That's it. So I wasn't fighting anything. I wasn't trying to get rid of frequencies I didn't really understand. It was just all there. It's just amazing.
Happy days. I can't wait to hear it. David Burke says, R8s for people who do know their R's from their elbows. Very nice, David. very, very nice.
Very, very nice.
I completely agree. I completely concur. Gabrielle Rodriguez again. Hi, Gabrielle. And thank you for that. Planning on purchasing your D&M drive. Your store seems to be out of stock. Willing to wait for you to receive inventory if that benefits you most. I'd rather purchase from whoever gives you the best margin. If you're in the US, Gabrielle, you can buy it from us with pleasure. There'll be some in a few weeks' time. But we would also say to anyone in the US, sometimes we do this. If someone orders from the US, we will email you back and go, do you know you can buy this cheaper in the States if you want to? We'll happily refund you. Quite a few people say, actually, no, I would really like to buy it from you, which is very kind. But
That's very kind.
If you do want to save money, honestly, buy it direct from Keeley or any retailer. We get a little cut of everyone sold, so it all helps us in the end. Just please buy it from wherever is most convenient for you, and But if you want to buy it from us, awesome. Be about 3 weeks, I think.
Brilliant. Jeremy Blanchard, thank you, Jeremy. He said, should I remove Polyfinish on my Ash Body 2008 Fender American Standard Telecaster and refinish it Nitro? I would say absolutely not. If, for whatever reason, you think the guitar is going to give you more, whatever you think the guitar is going to do in Nitro, I would just be so super wary of that.
Yeah. Do you love the guitar?
Because it probably isn't going to be what you think it's going to be.
No, you can't. You've got no idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you don't love the guitar, sell it.
Yep.
Move it on and try some other guitars and buy one that you love. If you love the guitar, don't change it and then acquire something else as well. But I mean, all very well me saying this, having gone down the rabbit hole of pickups and bridges and stuff, but all of that stuff is repairable. So if you put new pickups in the guitar, you can always put the old ones back in again. And similarly with bridges and stuff. But if you strip it and you refinish it, it might be entirely underwhelming and very expensive.
Yeah, I've done it when I was, years and years ago. A friend of mine had a bass finished with tung oil, and said, "Oh, what we need to do is remove all the finish off your Strat and finish it with tung oil," which we did, and the guitar just lost its mojo.
Yeah. I would also say that an Ash Body 2008 American Standard, if it's a see-through finish, it might be 2 pieces. If it's a solid finish, it can be up to 9 pieces, I think, that guitar.
Really?
I think so. Certainly 7.
Wow.
And it might be that, I don't want to speak ill of your guitar, but it might be that a refinish on a guitar like that is not worth it. If it was like a 1958 body that had been finished in poly over the years and you want to restore it to its original, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. But yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Lyoun says gear for stoner. Orange. A massive orange amp and some sort of crazy heavy guitar.
Do Orange still make the really big, what were they making? The 50s and 100s. Are they still doing those?
Yeah. The Thunderverb, Rockaverb.
All those things. Yeah, the Rockaverb. The Rockaverbs were great.
Yeah, I mean, they were used, I wouldn't say exclusively, but they were used widely by a lot of those stoner rock bands for a long time.
Right.
Yeah. Flying V. Other things I can't say out loud. Thomas Clarup. I have a D&M drive and I love it. Do I need a Klon-type pedal? So the mix...
No, I wouldn't think so. The I don't know. It depends what you mix. It depends what you've got the mix side doing. If you've got that really gainy and you want a clean boost after everything, then go for it. But I think the way the mids are in mixed pedal will get you a long way there.
Eric Cooper's come in with an answer and said, I believe the EQ configuration for mix side is somewhere between a Tube Screamer and a Klon. Is that correct at BB Ninja? It kind of is. It wasn't really... Well, I suppose it was... That was sort of the intention, I guess. It's got more bottom end than a Tube Screamer. And maybe slightly more than a Klon, maybe. And if you set the tone knob all the way around, it can get quite clonny, or at least not all the way around, but a bit further around.
Sure.
But that Klon thing is a unique thing, and if you're chasing it, then get a Ryra Clone or Tumnus Deluxe or Mythos Mjolnir. Mix side of the D&M drive can get fair way there. The mix side of the D&M drive does have the voltage pump as well, so you get headroom.
Frankie Holt says, calm down, I'm here. Good, Frankie.
Thanks,
we were
Frankie.
worried for a while.
Yeah, I was panicking Skywalker there for a moment.
Very good.
Dan and Mick's favourite TV tune, says Andy Milne.
Oh, Skippy.
What's that, Skippy? Stuck down the mine? Any American TV show from the 1970s and 80s?
Right.
Sesame Street.
Oh, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The music on that show is outrageous.
Yeah, because you'd get like Stevie Ray Vaughan or Stevie Wonder or...
Yeah.
really amazing dudes on there.
Do you remember Buddy Rich on the Muppets?
I do.
Yeah. Yes. Very cool.
Oh dear. This guitar is going to come back to life soon.
Oh, okay.
Some lollas on the way. Anyone out there get that, where the guitar just won't tune no matter what happens?
Yeah, I've found that generally it's a nut problem. Nice!
And then, of course, who could forget?
Very good.
Oh,
How do you know Postman Pat?
what do you mean? Are you going to tell me that
guessing.
Postman Pat is Australian?
No, but obviously it's very English, but just wondering how you know Postman Pat.
On the guitar?
No, without having kids. Because I
Oh.
was bludgeoned, to insanity by all that stuff with the kids when the kids were young.
It's a good question. I think he's a national icon, isn't he?
Oh, is he? Okay, fair enough.
And also, being around family and stuff. That's really annoying.
Mick, a question for you. Elkin Canna says, if you tighten your springs until the bridge is decked on a Strat, but still lifts a bit with a big bend, does it matter if you keep tightening the springs after the decked point? Does this keep affecting the tension and feel?
If you keep going, then the thing won't bend down. Does it? Yes, it does. The more you... The more stretched the strings are, and the harder the bridge is against the body of the guitar, then the more, I want to say, kind of fixed and positive the bend is. So if you think about a Telecaster where it can't move, everything you do when you bend a string is responsive, right? On a Strat, if there's any give in the bridge, anything you do is being offset by the bridge. So there comes a point where it's kind of flat and it can't move. And then from all the way down there will be some small effect. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Interestingly, I was talking to Ron Ellis.
I was talking to Ron Ellis this week.
Woo! Ron reckons that Strats definitely sound better when the bridge is just off a mill.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of know what he means. There is a springiness. Like if you put nines on a Strat and make it and put that bridge up, it is a fundamentally different thing than 11s and it decked. Yeah,
definitely.
they do sound springy and lovely and stratty like that. So all the more reason for having more Strats.
Sure. Andy High Tide says the Pointer Sisters did that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 song. I had no idea.
No way.
That is awesome.
That is awesome.
That's so good. Liam Jeffrey says, Dan, any ideas on new additions to my gain stages? I run into an AC30 head and orange cab. I've got Naga Viper treble booster, Earthquaker Devices Hoof Reaper, Catlin Bread Royal Albert Hall, the JHS Twin 12, and a Mojo Hand Rook Royale. yeah, the pedal that's missing from that is the hotcake. I think a hotcake would be a really nice addition.
Yep.
A hotcake for like into Voxes and like really uber bright sounding amplifiers. It's really hard to beat a hotcake. So good.
There's that point right at the end of the gain control where it goes from being, oh, this is good overdrive to holy crap.
Yeah. Mega. Mate, it's after 7.
It is.
Boris is on.
What's on?
Boris.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
What, on a telly again?
Yeah.
What's he saying today?
Something more hold the chicken in the air, do that stuff.
Yeah. Well, go out, don't go out. Do go out. Actually, no, to be fair, Catherine read the government update white paper today or whatever it was, and she said it's absolutely clear. Completely clear.
Yes, Eamon. Boris Becker. Boris Becker is on.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. Okay, come on then. One last question from Jarrett Oldenburg. Jarrett, sorry, you've asked this a few times and we've missed it. Do you think you guys could do a history episode on what you consider to be the most important points in rock guitar history? Oh my goodness me.
I love that idea.
Oh yeah.
We could do it personally. We could do it like on a personal thing.
Yeah.
No, we could do. I think we know we could do that. Talk about that. The big changes.
I think I'd have to steel myself for the comments.
Okay, maybe you don't read them.
Yeah. Well, you'd say something like, yeah, and Jimi Hendrix came along in 1967 and plugged a Strat into a Marshall, and somebody would go, well, actually, Jimi Hendrix wasn't the first person to do that. It was actually Dave Smith down the road at my local pub, and Jimi Hendrix stole everything he knew off Dave Smith, and etc. And it would be like that. But, yeah, it would be interesting, wouldn't it, as a point of opinion?
Yeah, possibly. And Jeff Martin, thank you very much, mate. That's very kind. Glad to see you too. Hope you're well. Hope everyone's well. Hope everyone's safe and keeping well and keeping your chin up and, you know, all that stuff.
Yes, indeed.
I've had a really good day today, so I'm feeling great.
Yeah, I'm feeling much better since much less drinking, regular exercise, sunshine.
The sun.
Not
what a difference the sun's made over the weekend. It was so good.
Oh, it's just wonderful, isn't it? Growing things as well, growing things on. We should say thank you to Simon for the amazing video he did on Friday. We haven't really spoken about it much today. To be fair, questions haven't come through. Simon's been on the comments over the weekend, as have I, asking questions that came through about the edit process. It was really great of him to do that video, and fascinating and insightful, and sort of reminds Dan and I how lucky we are to have Simon, Fraser and Catherine kind of as the backbone to TPS. Otherwise, it would not be possible what we do. So massive thanks to those guys for kind of keeping the fires burning. Dan and I may go solo for a couple of shows, however, because we are discussing Dan coming down and filming a couple of things, maybe, and we just need to stage that in terms of how kind of safe we can keep everything. So it might be just that me and Dan go back and do vintage TPS, just me and him, see what happens episode.
I like it.
It might be that we have a go at that, and then send all the stuff to Simon to edit. But
brilliant.
He'd be like, no!
All right. Cheers, guys. Stay safe. Wonderful to see you all. And yeah, we will see you this week sometime.
Take it easy. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Oh, hang on. I've gone off. I think it went off. We need to say goodbye again, Dan. My phone goes into shutdown mode. So
okay. We're back on now.
Just in case you didn't get that, we were about to say cheerio and thanks for watching. My phone went into some sort of pause mode. So, yeah.
They could still hear us, apparently.
Okay. In which case, we've said all this once already.
Yeah.
It's like Groundhog Day, but without Bill Murray.
All right. Take it easy, everyone.
Bye.
See you this week. Bye.